Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are back on F1 22 as always. And in today's video, we're actually going to be discussing something that I've actually changed to my driving style really in the past day or so. Because recently in this game, I've actually quite struggled in terms of not just pace, but also consistency. And at the start of this game, I don't know if it is because it was a brand new game itself and it was just a fresh handling model, but I really enjoyed the handling. And although the traction was much more difficult, I did find it to be a lot more consistent. And ever since we've had I think it was a 1.06 patch where that did change the handling quite drastically, ever since then I found it really inconsistent in terms of the traction. And I'm someone who likes to use lower gears. That's always the way I've driven, and the main reason for that is because using lower gears will introduce a little bit more of engine braking into the mix, and I like to use quite a bit of engine braking in terms of actually slowing the car down rather than actually doing the braking myself. And if you go back to my videos on F1 2012, because I did that, I used to generate a glitch called the barbecue where on that game, if you use too much engine braking and actually wore out the engine, then you would actually create smoke to come out the back of the car. Please let me know if you know exactly what I'm talking about. But ever since this patch, it seems to have rewarded drivers who use much higher gears. And as you can see, going through here, we're actually staying in gear 4 and able to get the traction very easily. And I've seen a lot of esports drivers do this for not just this game, but even the past couple of games, and drivers such as FRA Elite as well, using incredibly high gears through corners that I would think should be done maybe in second or sometimes, third or sometimes even second gear. If you watch it in real life, they're using second gear. Some drivers are using fourth or fifth gear here, and not so much that I think it gives you slightly better traction, which it might. I just think the traction is a lot more consistent driving this way, and that's what I've experimented in the past couple of days. And I have to say, it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for me, because now I'll have to introduce a little bit more trail braking, so I'll have to stay on the brakes a little bit longer to slow the car down at the apex, rather than letting the engine do the work for me. But you can see, going through gears or these corners such as this in fourth gear, the car is more stable. I can get the traction much easier, but the most important thing is that it's just a lot more consistent as well, because you're in the lower rev range of the gear. Whereas if you're in third gear going through there, I don't believe that the traction's as bad, but it's just a lot easier for the car to snap away from you as it's getting quite close to the rev limiter, if that makes sense. So please let me know what your thoughts are on this. And I've been trying this now for the last 24 hours or so, and I don't know if the speed is there yet, but I just definitely feels a lot more stable with the car itself. So this is really a video to many people. If you're struggling with the traction and you're finding that quite often you're losing the car under the traction out of nowhere, which I think is quite a big problem for a lot of people. We've even seen it with esports drivers where they just randomly lose the car. I think on this game, 2022, I've never seen a game where it's as unpredictable to lose the car. And I think a way to combat that is to have to use higher gears, even for corners where you think a third or sometimes a second gear is actually necessary. So you will see throughout the 3 races we're doing here today. So we've got Zandvoort, Suzuka next, which a track I actually really do enjoy in this game, but I've only driven it twice, and then we do Portimao at the end. You will see my process of going through these high gears. So you can see we're staying in gear 4 going through into here, and you can see how quickly we can go on the power. Not even a hint of wheel spin or anything at all. It was definitely proving to be a lot more stable. But again, let me know what it takes. Let me know what you think it takes to actually be very fast on this game. But if you do watch the top drivers, such as Lucas Blakely, Jana Watmir, FRA Elite on this, and many other drivers, the common theme definitely seems to be higher gears. And what do you think about that? Because in real life, they definitely don't use as high gears for many of the corners. Do you think this is something in the future that they should maybe nerf a little bit and make it not possible to use gears? Let me know what you think. But for me, it is definitely feeling a lot more settled, the car itself, as we come across the line, taking the win at Zandvoort quite nicely. But now we move over to Suzuka. This is only my 2nd time I've driven on the track itself, so I haven't even got a set for it yet. But as the lights go out, we get an absolutely electric start. I will be doing a video on starts, hopefully this week. So coming through to someone, absolute carnage here. Just trying to navigate through the chaos again, and we actually just lose the car by ourselves. Was thinking about resetting to track, but now we've actually managed to get back on track, and now we're up into P6. So again, normally going through here I'd use like a gear 4, but I'm trying to use the high gears here just to see how the car is reacting. And as I said in a Zandvoort race, I think I'm just going to have to learn how to trail brake just ever so slightly differently. So we're thinking about going the inside here, a bit of a half-hearted move. Almost got punished there, but managed to just about survive. Now we're going to defend into the hairpin here, and yeah, let's see what we can do for the rest of this race. And on PC, the curves around here are incredibly difficult to navigate. Coming through here in Xbox, what is it going to be? It doesn't really seem to be too bad at all. So thinking about getting a good exit, and this guy up ahead of me, Alex, in the Ferrari, seems to be very slow in a straight line, but we managed to just about get the move done on him before 130R. See, there's a bit of a gap to the cars up ahead, and going through into this one, keeping it in gear 4, as this guy has gone completely straight on and just managing to hit me ever so slightly. And yep, oh my god, just about managing to stay up ahead of him here. And I've noticed just with the high gears, and I think it's been the case for quite a few games now, but I think on this one more so, it's just the consistency, but you just don't lose any really turning ability. Going down to a lower gear doesn't give you any more turning or anything whatsoever. So I think that's why you are seeing people using these kind of gear selections for a lot of these corners, because you're not losing anything on the turning, you're getting more stability, arguably a little bit more traction, and you're just getting more consistency as well. So going through here, it was staying in gear 3 up into gear 4 straight away, and you can see a really nice stable traction on the exit here. And now we're actually up to this top 3 already, so now going into Spoon. Let's see what we're going to do here. So not really going to touch go, staying in gear 5 this time and getting a pretty good exit because of it. Let's see what our straight line speed is like compared to these guys, and you can see we are closing in quite quickly. So I'm not quite sure what the normal wins are, but we're having to navigate both of these two cars. So we're just going to let him have these corners, stay in gear 4 once again, trying to get a good exit here. Gets a pretty of a sloppy exit. So now we'll go use the ERS to go around the outside of him, and now we're up into P2 here with Veloce Dragon once again ahead of us. Coming through into this tail 1, we're going to keep it in gear 5, and coming through here, what do we do? So we keep it in gear 6, so gear 6 going through into here, now down to 5th, and yeah, quite often I always like to leave it in gear 5 keeping it in gear 5 again, coming through into this one, up into here. To be short shift into gear 6? No, we don't. So yeah, just trying to avoid really third gear as much as possible, because it seems to be gears 3 and below. That's where it's most really kind of uncertain in terms of what traction you will be getting from the car. So keeping it in the 4th gear here. Let's see what our traction is like on the exit. I know Veloce Dragon is on the controller as well. Now going into Spoon, let's see what we can do coming through into here. So let's see if we use the curb on the exit. This time we do, but on Xbox doesn't really seem to have that much of an effect. And with our straight line speed seemingly to be very, very fast, you can see in a straight line. I'm not sure what wings the people are running around here, because I think I was running 18 or 20, 14 wings or something like that around here. I must be much, much higher aero that people are running those track. But now we're up into the lead of the race, getting a really good exit coming off here. And now we're going to see how fast we can actually go in this race, as CR7 Everest just beats our time. So now going into the turn 1, keeping it in gear 5 once again. And yeah, just the stability is really kind of unmatched, and I just need to really train myself to understand that I'm not getting any more turning by being in a lower gear, and just learning to stay on the brakes a little bit longer if I need to, since now I don't really have the engine helping me out. So going through to here, you set a purple first sector, but now going into this one, we actually go a little bit deep. And as you go a bit deep, even on Xbox, you can still get caught out on these curves. And now we've gone back down to P4, and a harsh reminder that you still have to pay respect to the curves, even on this platform as well. But yeah, just let me know what your thoughts are on this handling. Did you prefer how it was from patch 0.06, or are you quite happy with the evolution of the handling since the updates? Like, if it's going towards more realism, then I guess we can't really complain. But yeah, I did like the challenge of the initial build, and I'm not sure why they changed it, because the lap times haven't really changed that much at all, and they're certainly not that much closer to real life or anything. So yeah, maybe it was yeah, I'm not really too sure why they've actually changed it so drastically. But now coming into this last lap, let's see if we can, how much time we can actually gain on this top 3 here. So we actually got a little bit wide into turn 1 this time, and you can see we're making a few mistakes in this race, but that's the process you need to actually go through when you want to improve and actually try and learn something different. Because as I said at the start of this video, definitely just feeling a little bit demotivated on the game at the moment, I would say. I just feel that it's hard for me to be consistent, and yeah, just need to get to grips a bit more with this recent handling model, because it definitely isn't clicking as well as it did in the previous build for me. So that's why, no matter how much experience you have, like, I've been playing these games, or the Codemaster games, since 2010, been an esports driver myself in 2018. You can't always maintain that level year after year, but I've always felt like I've been at a pretty high level. But you can always learn something, no matter how experienced and how good you are as well. There are always, at some point, people are going to be better than you, and you can actually learn something from it. And you can see we've actually managed to bring ourselves back into contention of the lead race. So trying to go for a little bit of a switchback, but we can't go around the outside here. Go try and get down the inside, drag race to the line, and we're just about going to miss out. Do the fastest lap in the process. But that was a pretty nice comeback here. Now we've got 5 fights, and we're at Portimao for the final 5-lap race. And coming through into here, not getting a too bad of a start once again. So we're going to leave some room on the inside here, just trying to avoid the chaos as usual, as we've unfortunately just ran into the back of someone else. And now we're back down into P15, having a bit of a ghost battle with this Mercedes to go try and get out ahead of him as much as we can. And now coming into here, we're going to maybe choose to go around the outside here, leaving some room on the inside. They're still luckily ghosted, so we're going to try and get this Ferrari with our straight line speed, because we've got really good straight line speed for the set round here. Almost right into the back of the Mercedes, so still trying to go around the outside of this Ferrari. Was thinking about going down the inside of the Sauber, but then the door was firmly shut, and was thinking about going down the inside here, and what is going to happen? So maybe just about room on the exit. Gonna try and go down for a switchback down the inside here, as making a little bit of contact. So I know some people will be screaming at me in the comments, and a little bit clumsy on my behalf there, but managing to just about get through it. And now we're up into P10 and going to try and use our straight line speed once again. So trying to avoid using the ERS, because the ERS is very, very easy to deplete around this circuit. So now we're up into P9 going into here, and I would actually say Portimao, when I've been driving this circuit, is one of my fastest tracks on the game. I really, really do enjoy it. I haven't actually done a time trial round here yet, which is something I definitely need to be doing, but the setup I have here is very, very good in straight line. So you can see using the higher gear method again, 4th gear, and I need to focus on carrying more minimum speed with my driving, but if I can focus on carrying more of the minimum speed, you can see go on the traction 100% straight away. The car just feels so much more planted than it was previously. So kind of keeping it in the 4th gear. Once again, car reacting very, very nicely. Was thinking to maybe about going down the inside here. He goes a little bit wide, so still maintaining that 4th gear. Was thinking I'd go down the inside again, so we're just going to let these two do the work, upshifting into 5th gear just to really get some good traction, which we do very, very nicely. And now coming into the end of lap 2 of this race, going to be using the ERS, and you can just see the speed we have in a straight line as we set the fastest lap of the race, which is immediately beaten by a 10th. Now coming through into this one, trying to get in the DRS zone for here as we go out wide. So that's actually our second track invalidation, I believe, but we're going to get the DRS coming through this portion of the lap. So just still go keep our ERS just in case we can use it, because the leaders are not that far away again. But you can see here, went a bit deep this time, because if that was 3rd gear, the car would have slowed down for the engine braking. But that's just something I have to really build in to my muscle memory just a little bit more. But you can see we're still sticking with the process. Definitely it's going to take me some time to get used to this new driving style. As you can see again, went down to 3rd gear, so just getting back into old habits just a little bit. Coming through into this one, coming into the last sector now, keeping it in here, so just trying to get that traction as much as possible. And the guy ahead of the McLaren I think is over a second ahead, so I knew I really had to get this move done if I wanted a chance to maybe still win this race. So using all the ERS I can here. He doesn't have the DRS on the car up ahead of him, so we're actually going to choose the racing line. Can we get the move done beforehand? The answer is yes, so fair play to the McLaren for not trying to charge it up the inside here. We're going to try and get within the 1 second window once again, but I think we have just about missed out on it. So still going to keep our ERS for the final lap, because this is actually the fight for the lead, which is really, really starting to bunch up here. Still keeping it in 4th gear, coming off the exit of this corner. Now coming through into the turn 8, which is a corner everyone hates. Keeping it in 4th, and you can see the stability and traction we get out of there is really, really nice. That's definitely the best exit I have had so far. Let's see if we can do this corner right this time, which we do pretty nicely. It looks like a lot of their red lights are flashing as well, and you can see it's absolute carnage going up into here. So what on earth is going on going through here? We're now up into P3. Got 2 cars up ahead of me with the Ferrari of Alex and this guy called Rav Basketball. This is actually a cross-play lobby, so the guy ahead of me I think is on PlayStation as well. So are we going to use the ERS going down the straight? Yes, we are, because I knew one of these guys wouldn't have it. His red light is flashing as well. So we're going to get this move done. Are we going to get the second? No, we're not, because he had the DRS as well. So coming through into it, we get really good exit. Coming through, are we going to go down the inside? No, we're not. So we're going to let him have the score, which then forces him to go out wide. And now we capitalise on that very, very nicely. Up into first place. And he's actually gone wide here. And yeah, a pretty good recovery. So I'm going from P15 now back up into P1. Was very, very nice. And the pace has been, as I said, I think this is one of my fastest tracks for raw pace. But I don't think in BRS we actually have this on the calendar. So I really wish they would add it to the calendar, because I would really, really enjoy driving around the circuit. I definitely prefer it in this game for some reason. Maybe to do with the cars than I did on F1 21. But coming through into the last sector now. Going green in this middle sector. It was losing the car again. So still a bit to learn when using these gears. I'm not going to be saved with the engine quite as very much anymore. But really, this video, if you are struggling with traction, I would encourage you to use a gear higher than you have been used to, because not being in that lower end of the rev or the torque is just going to give you much better stability and consistency. And I believe in time, this is the fastest way to drive. So really, that is just my little insight into a change of my driving style. Hopefully this has actually helped you out as well. Make sure you join my YouTube membership if you want to be invited into these open lobbies. Also a discount on one-to-one coaching with myself at coachlimitless.com. And I will be catching you very, very soon. Peace.